Hey guys, welcome back to Money is Blind podcast. I'm your host Prasoon. In this episode, I'll be talking about how you can secure your Ubuntu server. So, if you are using a Linux Ubuntu server to host your websites, including WordPress or any other web application, you can secure it. So, I didn't know how to do this, but ChatGPT helped me. I asked this question to ChatGPT and it gave me some steps, and it also gave me some code, Linux codes on how I can do this. So first of all, you need to be familiar with a little bit of Linux codes. You can log into the Ubuntu server using SSH, which is a protocol which is used to connect your computer or any device to the Ubuntu server, and for that you need either passkeys or you need the username and the password of your server. You also need the IP address of your server. So what is an IP address? It is the set of numbers like 20.144.200.3330. Those set of numbers that you've seen, every device which is connected to the internet has an IP address. And if you are using Azure, AWS or any other cloud hosting provider for your web hosting needs, you will get an IP address for a virtual machine. In that virtual machine can be running either Ubuntu or Windows, and most of the servers uses Linux. So if you have these three things, you can log into your server from your Windows or Mac using terminal. And once you do that, first thing that you need to do is to disable root login. So by default, root login is not disabled, but Linux, the latest version 22 and above, recommends the creation of other users for logging into the system, because root users, it can be easily hacked. Root is the username, and if you don't disable it, anyone can do a brute force attack on you. They can even use robots to do that, and once they get the password, they have all the data. Then they will ask for ransom, bitcoins, or they can do anything with the data that they got, and they will go to any extent to get money, to extract money from you. So disable root login, always create a new user, and remember the password, write it down, or use a password manager like Bitwarden or 1Password, or at least Google Passwords. So the next thing that you can do is to disable some common ports like 2220. These are ports which are used to access the server. Ports are like doors of Windows. Doors, we can say they are doors or gateways into the server, and different ports have different numbers. If you don't disable it, all these ports are by default open, and you need to disable it. So you will know which port is open, and only you will be able to access it through that port. You can even enable or disable this port in the service provider dashboard. I'm not talking about shared hosting service providers like Bluehost, HostGator, Hostinger. All those are providing shared spaces in the web. I'm talking about hosting a virtual machine, right? A virtual machine, a computer is hosted in the web, and you are getting the full access to that computer. You can install whatever things that you need there, and it is going to be costly. It is going to cost you about $50 a month, or at least 4,000, 5,000 rupees a month and above, depending upon the configuration of the virtual machine that you are using. It could be, when I say configuration, it could be the RAM, the solid state drive, the storage devices, and everything else. Next thing that you can do is install this application which is called fail to ban. I didn't know such an application existed, but ChatGPT helped me how to install it, and I think the code was sudo apt install fail to ban. Once it is installed, you need to enable it, configure the files and everything else. Yeah, I forgot to mention about how to disable root login. You have to edit a file in the etc folder. Within that folder there is an SSH, and yeah, ChatGPT will give you steps, and you can follow that steps to edit that file. And you have to change one line, just a single line in that file. I think permit root login, that's the starting of that line. Set it to no. By default it will be prohibited by password. You have to change it to no, and then save that file, and you're done. So after that, install fail to ban. This is a game changer. It prevents brute force attacks. It blocks IP addresses, malicious or suspicious IP addresses. If someone is trying to hack into your system, this application will take over and block those IP addresses. It has happened 2 times to me. First time I was unaware, second time it was completely unexpected, and I had to take this measure. The next step is to enable firewall and configure it in such a way that only you or certain IP addresses has the access to this server. HTTP, HTTPS, everything should be enabled. Don't enable FTP or SMTP or other protocols if you're not using it. Right? You can enable or disable it anytime that you want, and once you enable it, remember to turn it off once your need is done. Don't keep it open, because open doors invites unwanted guests and strangers, and they can do anything when they enter your server through that door, if you can understand what I mean. So that would be the next thing. Enable multi-factor authentication for your service provider. If it is AWS, enable multi-factor authentication. If it is for Google, every major service provider is providing 2-step authentication. Enable it and use the Authenticator app. Don't just go for OTP verification. Use Authenticator app. It is from Google, or you can use Microsoft Authenticator, and there is even an open source authenticator. I forgot its name. I think it is OpenAuth. There are multiple authenticator apps, and it works. You can get these codes even when there is no internet, and it is secure. And even when you change devices, these things can be backed up and transferred to a new device. So apart from these, there are some more steps, but at least make sure you have done these steps to secure your Ubuntu server. If you've done at least these steps, you can prevent a vast number of cyber attacks. So if you are a solo entrepreneur, you should learn this, and with ChatGPT you can ask ChatGPT for help and to explain each step. And if you have any doubt, ask ChatGPT to explain how you can change root password, or how to disable root login, and it will give you step-by-step instructions. And you just need to copy the code, paste it in the terminal or PowerShell or whichever client that you're using, and you will be getting results. If you get an error, copy that error, put it in ChatGPT, and it will help you to troubleshoot that error. So you don't need to be a developer. And I discovered it very late, and I feel proud about doing certain things that I could not have done if ChatGPT and other AI tools were not here. Right guys, on that note, I'm signing off. This is the show for blind entrepreneurs. I'll talk to you guys next week. Till then, you guys have a great weekend. Bye-bye.